Welcome to a new episode of the 90s Metal Gamer, where we stay hydrated and play video games. Now, I know it's been nearly a year since I last made a video, and there is a good reason behind that. And that is life. Life happened to me. But life is good, really. I can honestly say that I am in a much better place now than where I was last year. Now, to save you all the details of why I had to put YouTube on the back burner, I will just say this. I needed to focus on other things to make my life better. And that's exactly what happened. I made my life better. I wasn't where I wanted to be physically, emotionally, and in my career. And over the past 10 months, I really hit the ground running in trying to improve all aspects of my life. I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I am way further along ahead than where I was before. And I encourage all of you to do the same too. Take a step back from all social media platforms and you'll realize that life is so much better away from the phone screen. Enough about that. This video is a casual review of Doom: The Dark Ages. As soon as I found out that there was going to be a new Doom game, I was really excited, and I figured I have to give a review video over this game. And what better way to return to YouTube than with the Doom franchise? Last year I made a casual review video over Doom Eternal, and I mentioned somewhere in that video that I'm not really a big fan of first-person shooter games, but there are a few exceptions. One of them being the Doom series, and the other being Halo. And to this day, that still remains true. I'm not really a big fan of first-person shooter games, and I honestly believe what ruined it for me was the Call of Duty series. Not trying to throw shade on anybody that enjoys these games, it's just not for me. Over the course of this review, we're going to go over the story, the gameplay, the presentation, and the music. And then we'll wrap it all up with a water score. And because this is a casual review video, I must iterate that I did not complete this game to 100%, and I played it on the easiest difficulty. I like to enjoy my games, and Doom is known to be kinda hard, at least for me. I'm not the gamer that I used to be 20 years ago. Bear with me, I'm getting old. Once again, rip and tear until it is done.
And then the Lord said,
I want to see your tiny head.
When I started editing this video, the original plan was to provide a backstory for the Doomslayer, go deeper into his lore and all that stuff. But come to find out in my Doom Eternal casual review video, I already did that. So instead, I'm going to talk about how Doom: The Dark Ages relates to Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. I found a fandom page that was dedicated to Doom: The Dark Ages, but that didn't really go into too much depth in what I was trying to look for. So instead, my search continued, and I stumbled upon a Reddit page that kinda explains it a lot better than the fandom page. Thank you to the user Shy Gore from Reddit. The post he or she made is from a little over a year ago, and I'm not too sure how accurate it is, but it does make a lot of sense. I'm going to read it word for word. The Dark Ages is meant to bridge the gap between the ending of Doom 64 and the start of Doom 2016. We know from lore entries and cutscenes in Doom Eternal that Doom Guy did wind up escaping from Hell sometime after the end of Doom 64 and wound up in the world of Argent D'Nur, home of the Argenta/Sentinels. From there, he was enslaved as a gladiator, but proved his battle worthiness by surviving and was placed into the Argenta's warrior caste, the Knight Sentinels. At this point, Hell finally invaded Argent D'Nur, and the war between the Argenta and Hell began. The Dark Ages, I assume, will be telling us what specific events happened during the war that only the Doom Eternal lore entries briefly showed us. It will eventually lead to the point where, in order to gain an advantage against Hell, Doom Guy becomes overpowered by the Divinity Machine thanks to Summer Maker, aka the Seraphim, Samuel Hayden, turning him into the Doomslayer that we know. Once the Night Sentinels discover they have been betrayed by the Makers, who have sided with Hell to produce Argent energy, the Slayer and the Night Sentinels go on their suicide missions into Hell to stop its production. Once again, I am not 100% sure if that is entirely accurate because that Reddit post was from a year ago, but to be fair, it does make a lot of sense. The transition from Doom Guy to Doom Slayer and what happened in between Doom 64 and Doom 2016, it all makes sense. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the story. In keeping with the tradition of all the previous videos that I've posted, I suck at storytelling, so I'm going to let the game tell the story for me. Enjoy.
Another fool's errand, witch. You have wasted our time once again.
We will not leave here until the heart of Argent is found. It is close.
The Horde will tear this village to pieces, but our time is running out. Soon, the humans will summon him.
King Nodus, we found their entry point. It doesn't make sense, sir. The barrier is still holding, but our scans show that 3 portals were opened from inside the village.
The demons couldn't get past the barrier, so their followers are letting them in. Thera.
The transports. How much time?
Get me the new bishop. Valen's armored division is still an hour away.
We could try and launch the Atlands.
There's no time. Bishop Creed. We need him. The village of Kalim is a mining settlement. If it falls, everything will be destroyed, including your Sentinel energy reserves.
Launch the Slayer.
Total purification targeted for the village of Kalim.
Before I go on, I want to preface the rest of the video with a spoiler alert. I am going to spoil this game for you, so if you haven't played it, please click away. Or don't, I mean, choice is yours, but I'm telling you right now, I am going to spoil this game for you. You have been warned. In true Doomslayer fashion, he shows up in the most badass way you can think of and starts wrecking shit. But this time around it's a little bit different. Look at his eyes here in this scene. You can see they are glowing yellow. He is under the control of the Makers. Now, according to that Reddit post I was talking about in the introduction of this video, Doom the Dark Ages takes place in between Doom 64 and Doom 2016. So, somewhere in there, somewhere between those two games, Doomslayer became enslaved by the Makers. And now for a moment of transparency. I never played Doom 64, so I don't know exactly what events caused that to happen, or if there was even some kind of hint that he was going to be enslaved. I don't know. But here, he is enslaved. About halfway through the game, being the badass that the Doomslayer is, he just decided he did not want to be under the Maker's control anymore. So he says, fuck this shit, and he breaks their control. Just watch.
That the Slayer no longer wishes to be detained here.
If that doesn't showcase how much of a badass the Doomslayer is, I don't know what will. And to give the Cliff Notes version of the story of Doom the Dark Ages, I'm just going to say this. You are the Doomslayer, obviously, and you are just ready to fuck some shit up in hell. And that's what you're here to do. The main antagonist of this game is Prince Azrak, and he kinda reminds me of him from the Powerpuff Girls. The 90s kids watching this video will definitely get the reference. Everybody else, I'm not sure if you'll get it or not, but here, have a look. And I can't leave out the fact that the Doomslayer has a pet dragon too. How badass is that? Anyway, the story segment of this video is going on a lot longer than I wanted it to, so I'm going to cut it right here and go into the next segment. You know how that old saying goes, if it's not broken, don't fix it? Well, in this case, the controls were not broken, at least in comparison to Doom Eternal. Those controls are actually great. And the controls in Doom the Dark Ages were just slightly more difficult for me to learn. So I didn't necessarily master the controls, but it did take me quite some time to adjust to it, and I think it was because I was more accustomed to Doom Eternal's controls. Now don't get me wrong, the gameplay was still very phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I thought it was very fun. It was just slightly more difficult for me to use. But take a look here on screen, you're actually fighting as an Atlan. Those huge machines that you saw in Doom Eternal. You actually get to play as one, and I thought that was badass. And of course, I can't leave out what is possibly the most unique feature in this entire game. You have a pet dragon, and you take flight in your pet dragon, and you kill shit in your pet dragon. How badass is that? That is metal as fuck. Aside from the standard gauntlet to bash people's heads in, you will also have your flail and your dread mace, all of which are badass. And as you can read in the top left corner of the screen, these are your melee weapons. What I'm about to say is probably going to be a controversial opinion, but the weapons in this game were very lackluster in comparison to those of Doom Eternal. Granted, they were still pretty cool, but it just didn't hit me the same way that the weapons did in Doom Eternal. I'm sorry. I will say that my favorite weapons were the Shredder, the Super Shotgun, and the Pulverizer. What comes to mind whenever you think of the Doom series? Chances are, chainsaw, a man that's too angry to die. Well, the man that's too angry to die is still there, but your chainsaw is now a saw shield. At first, I was kind of skeptical towards it because I didn't know how to receive it. But after seeing what it does, I have to say, the saw shield is still pretty badass. But, me being the OG gamer that I am, I still prefer the chainsaw. But you can't parry attacks with the chainsaw. Shut up. Yes, I know, I am well aware of that. And that brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, the parry ability. Raise your shield at the right time when you're about to get hit with an Argent energy attack, and it'll deflect the energy attack right back at the enemy. I thought that was really cool. It wouldn't be a proper Doom game if it didn't have the BFG. Well, in this case, you don't have the BFG, you have the BFC. What do you think the BFC stands for? If you play the game, then you already know. But if you don't know, it is Ballistic Force Crossbow. But in reality, it's called the Big Fucking Crossbow. And it's not unlike the previous BFGs in the previous Doom games. Very much similar, except it's a crossbow. And it destroys everything on your screen. All of your weapons are upgradable with currency that you find throughout the game. The currency you have is, believe it or not, gold. You have gold, you can upgrade your weapons, with the exception of the BFC. That weapon is not upgradable because it's the BFC, the Big Fucking Crossbow. It cannot be upgraded, it's already badass. The biggest gripe that I have about the gameplay is the lack of glory kills. Glory kills is what made Doom Eternal so goddamn cool. And they took that away from us. So, thumbs down for that. Other than that, everything was pretty smooth. Me adjusting to the controls was slightly more difficult than Doom Eternal, but nonetheless it was still enjoyable. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the presentation of this game. For the presentation segment of this video, I'm going to let the graphics speak for themselves. It is absolutely beautiful. Have a look.
And it can be harnessed. We should kill him. We'll need something more permanent. Etrigos, Zaraf, Mazike.
Now, I warned you guys in the beginning of this video that I am going to spoil this game for you. So, if you didn't click away when I gave that warning and you saw when Doomslayer got unmasked, I'm not sorry. I warned you, you should have clicked away if you didn't want to see that. Moving on, I have to say the graphics are absolutely beautiful in this game. There's literally no difference between cutscene graphics and gameplay graphics. Then again, I think that's the case with all video games now. They all look the same, but that doesn't take away from its beauty. Mostly dark colors, and of course it's a Doom game, so that's a given, but nonetheless, very, very beautiful. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the music.
Security clearance required.
It wouldn't be a proper Doom game if it didn't have heavy metal music in there, and Doom The Dark Ages doesn't miss with this. Although it is not Mick Gordon, that doesn't take away from the beauty of it. It is still really, really good. It's got a dark tone to it and a very, very djenty feel to it. And if you know what djent is, I don't need to explain any further. This music fucks. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I made a lot of comparisons to Doom Eternal while I was playing this game. Mostly because Doom Eternal was peak in my opinion. And I have a bias. I truly do believe Doom Eternal was better than this game. And that's where I messed up in this review. I compared it. But that doesn't take away the fun that I had from this game. I really did. I promise you, I had a lot of fun playing this game. But it just didn't hit the mark that Doom Eternal had, and I can't explain it, whether it be the music, or the glory kills, or the way it plays. Maybe it was a mix of a lot of things rolled into one. Maybe not the bigger things, but small things that made a big difference. And like I just mentioned, the glory kills. The glory kills in Doom Eternal was what made me want to keep playing the game. I just loved seeing how the Doomslayer killed his enemies. On top of that, although the Saw Shield was really, really good, it is no chainsaw. It is no chainsaw at all. And there was considerably less platforming in Doom The Dark Ages in comparison to Doom Eternal, but truth be told, I didn't mind the platforming at all. As a matter of fact, I actually enjoyed it. All the little things that I did not like about this game all snowballed into one big thing that made me give this game a less than perfect score. All things considered, guys, I will give this game a water score of 4 out of 5 bottles of water. Don't hate me. Thank you for watching my video all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it, and I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to the channel. I love y'all, and stay hydrated.